Hey guys, welcome into the show. My name is Tyler Kluver. I'm a former Division 1 athlete. I now run a fitness coaching business as well as a sports media brand that creates podcasts, sells merchandise, and creates other exclusive content. This show is a place for me to document my thoughts on fitness, health, nutrition, maybe some business or mindset stuff, as well as update anyone listening on my own competitive fitness endeavors and life events. I want everybody that comes and listens to this show to take something away that can make their life better, whether it's a diet or fitness tip or a way of thinking about things that motivates you to be better in your own life. Hopefully we can get that done, but regardless, I'm glad you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. We're back. Intro too long. Welcome to the Snap Podcast. Life event for me today went to get my license renewed, and you need an appointment. Simple as that. They're not even gonna talk to your ass. They have it. I mean, quite honestly, they have it set up very well over there at the old DOT, DMV. I don't know what they call it nowadays, but I scurried my little butt over to the Waukee location before I went out to get some groceries today. I thought, I know they want you to make an appointment. I see it online, but the little postcard I got that was reminding me to renew my license said you could walk in. They would, you know, they would prioritize the appointments, but then maybe a walk-in would work. You get to the door, you walk right in that door, which is like 30, 40 feet away from the desk. You can't even get anybody's attention. And it's kind of roped off, and it's just like, hey, take a ticket. Do you have an appointment or do you not? That you answer that question. If you click no, it spits you out a ticket that says, here's how to make an appointment online with like a QR code. Oh, it's amazing. So, hey, there's my advice for the day. Check your license. Check to see when it expires, and don't wait until last minute to do that because my birthday is in 2 weeks, which is when it expires this year, and I couldn't get an appointment for 5 weeks. Now, fortunately, at least this is what Google said, I'm good for 60 days post expiration on the driving part, and as long as you renew it within a year of the expiration, you don't have to retake the driving test, which I would have felt like a total asshole if I had to jump back in the car with some fat dude whose job is to make sure people don't crash their car, and I had to repass a test. God, that would have been horrible. I probably would have failed a written test. So I think we're okay. October 14th will roll around and we'll do it. We'll do it then. Again, though, welcome in. More of an update, kind of just check in today. I don't have a lot going on. I do want to talk about morning routine in a second and end this on a bit more of a eh, I don't want to end it on a somber note, but I'm going to. Just a thing in my life that's going on that's providing perspective. But yeah, hi. It's the second week of September. My name is Tyler. I like to do CrossFit, and here's where I'm at with my competitive CrossFit stuff. Uh, Came off a really, really strong summer training, what I would call summer training phase. I got into it a little bit late. I definitely missed a large portion of it. We'll call it a month between me doing the half marathon earlier this summer, like right at the beginning of summer, June 1. Took some time off from that, went on vacation, didn't work out at all for a little bit. Wanted to reset, regroup. Thought that was good for me. I think net, that was a positive. Got into the summer training block. Felt like it went pretty well. All the way up until last week, which would have been like our big finishing week, and got the flu. Talked about that a little bit last week. So wasn't able to hit everything, but pretty much went through unscathed. It was a good summer. We added a lot of strength. I don't think we lost a whole lot of skill volume. So, what does that mean? My ability to do larger sets of bar muscle ups, ring muscle ups, rope climbs, handstand push ups, handstand walking, those kinds of things in the CrossFit space. My ability to do those at bigger sets when I'm tired did not fall off too much. Certainly better at this point in the season, very early September, looking ahead towards next year than it was last September, looking ahead towards this year. So I feel good about that. I also feel good about how much more work I'm going to put in on all of those things in the next 6 months. So we're excited for this season as far as that goes. Cardio is not exactly where I'd like it to be, but it's not in a bad spot. And my lifting, I feel almost as strong as I've ever felt. So that's a positive. We are in the middle of a deload week this week. And so we are quite literally down to just one piece a day. And I will say over that summer phase, I took summer, even though there was plenty of stuff programmed. I follow a specific elite CrossFit competitors program. There is enough volume on that program if you want to really average definitely 2 sessions a day, six, 2 sessions a day throughout the week, and then a big Saturday session, 3 ish hours of training a day. Saturday's usually somewhere at like right at 2. I decided that I was gonna cut out a lot of the stuff that I didn't feel like I needed to work on, do the stuff that I thought was the best for me, and push all of that into one session, at least until we got into the school year, which we are now week 3, week 4 of the school year. Um, and we're about to start a new phase as we deload at the end of this phase. I think that worked well for me. One of my big focuses as a competitive CrossFit athlete this offseason has been less filler volume. It's not necessarily that volume is bad, but if I train for 3+ hours a day and an hour of it wasn't used intentionally and I could have been more efficient, then is it worth beating up my body on what I call filler volume, relative to if I were to just work out 90 minutes to 2 hours a day and everything I did in that time frame was intentional and intense and I got something out of it. And I focused on higher intensity in some of the workouts versus just getting stuff done. What would that look like? And I think I like where I'm at there. Um, so we've just been a one a day guy. Granted, it's a 2 hour session, but we've been a one a day guy for the last, 2 to 3 months. That will change. I will eventually, most certainly after the holidays, like when we turn the calendar and it is January, February, all the way um, through basically the open in this competitive season that'll be next year, I will be in two-a-day mode. Between now, September 9th, I'm actually recording this on a Monday, and the turn of the year, the first of the year, I don't know at what point I will start doing two-a-days. It takes a slight progression to work into that, at least for me. Or it has to be done in the right way so that you can go from, "Oh, I'm doing 1 workout a day," to all of a sudden now I'm just doing 2 workouts a day. That over the course of a week, if you just make that switch, you now go from, you're adding in like 40 to 50% volume, and you can't do that. So we have to have a smart plan to increase training volume from now until then. I think by I think I might go another 6 weeks here, and this is sort of the next thing on the checklist to talk about. Again, deload week this week, I'm hitting one timed workout a day. There's one thing to do. For me, the next 3 days are Rogue qualifier workouts. Rogue Fitness puts on a off-season competition. So probably the best off-season competition, the most elite, the most prestigious. Only pros make the actual invitational, but anybody can do the qualifier to see if, hey, you can claim one of the 5 spots. You're not going to because a professional is going to claim it. But it's still fun to test myself on those workouts. They are generally heavy, pretty beefed up workouts too. So I did one on Saturday. I'm going to do one the next 3 days. That's it. That's all I have today. It'll probably take 45 minutes front to back, warm up, mobilization, do the workout, cool down, stretch, be done. Which will be nice. My body will feel pretty good after this week, starting a new phase next week. That new phase next week will be a 6-week phase, which will take us right up to the last week of October. That is the last week of what we call base building. Right now, we're just building general base fitness in all aspects, strength, gymnastics, and cardio. Trying to go as wide as you can, touching a whole bunch of different facets of fitness, movements, combinations, stuff like that. It gets a little bit more specific right at that last week of October, start of November. That's what we call open prep. And that will last for 3.5 months. And there'll be 2 different phases of that. I believe that over this 6-week phase, this last base building phase, I will start to toy with the 2-a-day volume. I'll do a 2-a-day. Maybe even something like I'll do a 2-a-day in the week 1. I'll do 1 2-a-day. I'll do in week 2 a couple 2-a-days. In week 3, I'll hit 3 2-a-days. And then by the time I get to the end of that phase, I will have worked up my volume into 2-a-day fashion. And when you do a 2-a-day in CrossFit, that big bulk session that was your original just 1 workout a day, you cut 1 or 2 pieces off of that, and you get to slice that and push it to the front of the day or the back of the day whenever you happen to train. So it's not like you're just doubling your session. I probably will be adding somewhere between 30 and 40% work volume. But again, it takes time to do that. So we plan to be at 2-a-day volume, full on somewhere in the middle of November. But not right now. We're gonna chill out for right now because again, it's a long off season. My fitness is in a place where I don't need I can afford to put health at the forefront right now, and that's where we're at. So excited to finish out this week. 1 workout a day, not have to think about a lot, just go hard once, hurt, be done, not beat my body up. And we're going to use that time over the next 6 weeks to gradually increase the volume. Then, in about a month, I think it's in a month, maybe a little, again, towards maybe the end of that 6-week phase when we start to ramp up the volume. Myself and a couple other guys from the gym are going to be doing a Wodapalooza qualifier. Wodapalooza, similar to the Rogue Invitational, is one of the other 2 big time competitions outside of the actual sanctioned CrossFit season. Wodapalooza is in late January in Miami, and it is a massive fitness competition. There's a ton of divisions. It's actually pretty qualifiable if you get a couple guys team wise that have some fitness. We probably can qualify for a division. We're gonna try that, and we'll see what we get there. It'll be team workouts, so those are always fun. And we will update you guys on the Wodapalooza qualifier. I think it's like a 3-week qualifier. So we'll see what happens there. As I mentioned, we are into the school routine, and I think one of the biggest things for an anchor to switch seasons of your life, when something a schedule changes and now all of a sudden you go from we go from the summer months where the wife who is a teacher is home, the kid who goes to a teacher's only daycare is home. Now both of them go off to daycare and school, and my day looks a whole lot different. And I think the easiest way, and we go through all this, everybody goes through something like that. The school year starts if you're young and you're still in school, or a job goes through different seasons, whatever, of travel. I think the biggest thing to focus on as an anchor is your morning routine. And I don't care what your morning routine looks like. It could be absolutely dialed in with 14 different things. It could just be 1 or 2 things. that really help you get into a groove, but I think you need to be consistent with that. For me, it seems very obvious that, and I think there's, plenty of research on this, I'm sure. When you have a checklist of things to do during the day, or you're looking at being productive for the 8 to 10 hours you have ahead of yourself when you wake up in the morning, it is much easier to go through that checklist and keep banging things off the list. Bang, 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 checking things off. This is done. That's done. Got that taken care of. When you start with a win, when you can get the first thing checked off that list, it feels good and you want to get another and then another. And if you're competitive like me, you get a couple and you're almost like, "Oh shit. How fast can I get all these things done and just have the rest of the day to myself?" I know not everybody has that luxury. Some people have to stay on the clock until a certain time, but that's the way it works for me. If you have kids, obviously that daily routine starts when you immediately when you wake up because you savor that time when your kids are asleep and you have just your adult time, to you and your partner, or maybe your single parents are fucking they're insane. Uh Shout out to them. But you have to get stuff done. So for us it's I wake up, I make my breakfast and coffee, I get dressed, right? So that way my breakfast is eaten, I'm sipping on my coffee by the time the kid wakes up. The kid is awake and out the door in about 45 minutes. So I finish my coffee on the way to take her to daycare. Again, there's other details of the routine of getting her ready. And then she's off to daycare. I got that taken care of. I finish my coffee about the time I pull back in the driveway, go in, brush my teeth for the morning. And now I feel like I've really got some momentum in my day. Bang. What's next on the list? I write down my work to-do list for the day. I just start attacking things. Versus if every morning's different and you don't feel like you are in a routine or you're in it any kind of consistency, you can feel kind of lost or swamped or other feelings that aren't positive or productive towards you getting stuff done. And so anchor to a morning routine, find whatever that is, and really buy into that. Finally, for today's podcast, has nothing to do with anything I've talked about, but figured I'd mention it because I'm not going to talk about it anywhere else. And I feel like it's at least worth pondering or just blabbering about at the end of this thing. Later this week, I don't know if I'll end up going or just my wife will go, but there was a death in the family. Um, Not a close family member. It's on my wife's side. And even then, it's like a second cousin or technically my wife's cousin, her kid. And that sucks. Kids dying is really bad, and you can tell that I'm really great at being soft and addressing something like this. Um, I probably normally wouldn't bring something like this up, but it hits close to home because this little girl was born 6 months ahead of our little girl, and we see them at Thanksgiving, we see them at Christmas, we see them at Easter, we see them at least 3 times a year for the last however many years I've been with my wife. We are very good about getting to every holiday every year. So, this is a family that we've seen. Um, this family already had 2 kids older that were, something like 4th and I want to say like 3rd and 1st grade or something like that. This kid was kind of a surprise when she was born, and she was a great little girl. Very similar to Kinley, our little girl. And I don't even really know where I'm going with this, but it doesn't seem fair that little kids have to die. And I'm not even getting into the whole religious verse, is there, is there a God? Is there not kind of conversation of this, which is a whole other thing. But it just hits really close to home. And it makes you think about what you have and how precious life is. I didn't really think I'd get emotional about this, but here we are. It's not good. It's not good. This little girl battled a lot. Um had to be tougher than most adults ever will be in their life probably. And it just is something that makes you think. And I know we did an episode a couple weeks ago about how, the kid was going back to daycare, and I was sad about that, and I was really grateful for the summer that we got to have with her and all this stuff. And it just feel that way again, even more so. I think part of the reason I live my life the way I do is because it's not because I'm actively thinking about stuff like this that happens, but I do cherish time with family and my freedom and doing what I want to do as much as I possibly can. And that includes now as a father spending time with the wife and the kid. And it just makes me grateful because there's a lot of people out there who don't get nearly as much time as I do. Um yeah, it sucks. And I can't imagine what what her parents are going through. It seems like something that could just absolutely destroy a person. So, how about that? Lovely note to end today's podcast. Fuck me, man. Oh, I don't know. Life is weird. Another week of the Snap podcast. Just another reason to live your life to the fullest and take care of your health because somebody cares about you and they want you around. And working out, being healthy will make that more of a thing. So, no excuses. They aren't valid. Go find a way to get it done. Be a savage. Talk to you guys next week.